Welcome back to our channel, English with Ethan. Today, we are going to talk about something truly powerful: how to be a gentleman. But not just in the way you dress or speak. We're talking about the kind of gentleman who carries strength with kindness, confidence with respect, and silence with wisdom. A real gentleman changes his thinking, transforms his perspective, and learns how to love himself. So, let's dive into this 7-part journey that can help you become the best version of yourself. Part 1. Change your perspective. See the world differently. Let's start with something very important: your perspective. A true gentleman doesn't look at the world like everyone else. He doesn't judge too quickly. He doesn't complain. He doesn't blame others. Instead, he tries to understand. Think about it this way. Two people can look at the same rainy day. One says, "Ugh, the day is ruined." The other says, "What a peaceful time to think, learn, and rest." The situation is the same, but the attitude is different. Changing your perspective means choosing how you respond to life, not just reacting. It means asking, "What can I learn from this?" instead of "Why is this happening to me?" A gentleman looks for growth in every challenge. He looks for hope, not excuses. He understands that life isn't perfect, but his mindset can be. Example: imagine you are late for a job interview because of traffic. You could get angry and mess up the interview with stress. Or you could take a deep breath and say, "This is a chance to show how calm I can be under pressure." That shift in perspective can change your entire result. Gentlemen don't need everything to be easy. They train their mind to see opportunity, even in difficulty. Start by noticing your thoughts. Are they mostly negative? Do you complain a lot? Then shift slowly. Replace "I can't" with "I'll try." Replace "this is bad" with "let me find a lesson in this." Small changes lead to big growth. Part 2. Think before you speak. Power of mental control. The second habit of a gentleman is very simple but powerful. He thinks before he speaks. In today's world, people rush to talk. They argue, fight online, and react too quickly. But a real gentleman stays calm. He listens. He observes. And when he speaks, his words carry weight, because they are thoughtful, not loud. Thinking before speaking is a skill. It shows control, it shows maturity, and it saves you from regret. Let's take an example. You are angry with someone. You feel like saying hurtful things, but instead of shouting, you pause. You give yourself a moment to cool down. Later, you talk, not with anger, but with respect. That one pause saves your relationship. A gentleman knows silence is not weakness, it's strength. He knows when to speak and when to hold back. He uses words to build, not to break. When you think before you speak, people trust you more. They know your words are not random. They're real. They're wise. So next time you feel emotional, angry, sad, or jealous, don't rush to talk. Take 5 seconds. Breathe. Ask yourself, will these words help or hurt? Then choose the words that bring peace, not drama. This is how you lead with your mind, not just your mouth. Part 3. Mastering emotional control. The true power of a gentleman. Now in Part 3, we are going to talk about something that makes a real difference in the life of a gentleman: emotional control. Let's start with a simple truth. Your emotions are powerful, but they should never control you. A real gentleman learns to feel everything, but still choose how to react. This is not easy, but this is the path to inner strength. Imagine this. You're in a tough situation. Someone insults you. You feel anger rising. You want to shout, but instead of reacting immediately, you pause, take a deep breath, and respond calmly. That's emotional control. That's power. Why is emotional control so important? Because it shows that you are the master of yourself. The world can be loud, messy, and full of negativity. People might try to pull you down. But a true gentleman stands tall, not because he is cold, but because he is wise. He knows when to speak and when to stay silent. Let me give you an example. There was a famous Japanese samurai named Miyamoto Musashi. He was not just a warrior, but a thinker. He said, "Anger clouds judgment. Calm brings clarity." Even in the middle of battle, he stayed calm. That's what made him a legend. You may not fight with swords, but every day you face mental battles, stress, failure, misunderstanding, pressure. So, learn to pause, breathe, step back. Don't let emotions drive your life. You drive your emotions. Now, how can you practice emotional control? Let me give you some tips. 1. Start with awareness. Every time you feel a strong emotion, anger, sadness, frustration, just say in your mind, "I feel this." I acknowledge it. That's the first step. 2. Create space before reacting. Count to 10. Walk away. Write it down. Just give yourself a moment. This one small action can change everything. 3. Learn to express, not explode. Being calm doesn't mean you stay silent forever. Talk, but do it when your mind is cool. Your words will carry more power. 4. Avoid toxic situations. Some people and places are full of drama. Limit your time around them. Protect your peace. 5. Meditate and journal. Even 5 minutes of silence or writing in a notebook every day can help you understand your feelings better. Remember, a true gentleman is not a person who never feels anything. He feels deeply, but he doesn't let those feelings make decisions for him. He walks away from drama, but never from truth. He speaks softly, but his words carry weight. He looks calm, but inside, he's full of strength. Part 4. The power of discipline. Becoming a gentleman through self-mastery. This part is about one of the most powerful tools in a gentleman's life. Discipline. Let us be clear. Without discipline, nothing meaningful can happen. Talent is good. Intelligence is helpful. Kindness is beautiful. But without discipline, everything becomes weak and unfocused. Discipline is doing what you should do, even when you don't feel like doing it. This is what separates a common man from a gentleman. A gentleman wakes up on time, even when he wants to sleep more. He eats healthy food, even when he craves junk. He works hard on his goals, even when distractions call his name. He reads instead of wasting hours scrolling through his phone. He respects his time and other people's time. Why? Because he knows one truth. Every small choice builds who you are. Let's look at a simple example. Think about a person who wants to get fit. He decides to run every morning. For the first few days, he's excited. But then, one morning, it's cold outside. His bed feels warm. His mind says, "Let's skip today." That's the moment that decides everything. A disciplined man will say, "I run not because it's easy, but because I said I would." And he gets up. He shows up for himself every single day. That's how results are created. That's how confidence is built. That's how transformation begins. Discipline is not a punishment. It is a gift you give yourself. When you live with discipline, you start respecting yourself more. You stop needing motivation from others. You stay focused even when life gets hard. You build inner strength and self-trust. You start to feel proud of the man you are becoming. Now let's understand. How can you build discipline step by step? 1. Start with one habit. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick one area, maybe waking up early or reducing screen time, and work on that. When you win one small battle, your mind becomes stronger. 2. Make a daily routine. A gentleman doesn't live randomly. He has a plan for his day. Even a simple routine gives direction to your time and energy. 3. Delay pleasure. This is a superpower. Don't always choose what feels good now. Choose what is good for your future. That's what real men do. 4th, track your progress. Use a journal, app, or calendar. When you see how far you've come, it keeps you going. 5. Don't wait for motivation. Motivation is like the weather. Sometimes it comes, sometimes it doesn't. Discipline is like a solid rock. It stays. And remember this, there will be days when you fail. That's okay. A gentleman doesn't aim to be perfect. He aims to be consistent. Even if you fall, you get back up. You don't cry over one missed day. You don't quit. You continue. Because being a gentleman is a journey of self-respect. It's not about showing the world how perfect you are. It's about proving to yourself that you can rise again and again. Part 5. The Gentleman's Mind. Thinking with depth, wisdom, and maturity. You've now learned about appearance, perspective, self-love, and discipline. But now, we focus on the mind, the root of everything. A real gentleman is not just about what he wears, how he behaves, or what he says. It's also about how he thinks. Your thoughts shape your world. They decide how you see yourself, how you react to others, and how you deal with pain, failure, success, and life. A gentleman trains his mind every day, just like a warrior trains his body. Let's begin by understanding this. 1. Control your response, not the situation. Most people get angry, frustrated, or upset because they want the world to act the way they expect. But a gentleman knows, I can't control everything outside me, but I can always control how I respond. Someone insults him. He doesn't shout back. Something goes wrong. He stays calm and finds a solution. Plans fail. He reflects and learns instead of blaming others. This shows mental strength, not weakness. The world respects those who can stay stable when storms arrive. Reaction is easy. Response takes maturity. 2. Think long-term, not just for today. A gentleman doesn't only think about the next few minutes or hours. He thinks about the next years. For example, he studies now so that he can succeed later. He saves money instead of spending it all on temporary joy. He builds good habits that his future self will thank him for. He chooses good friends, knowing they will shape his character. Short-term pleasure gives short-term happiness. Long-term thinking gives lifelong peace. 3. Avoid drama and foolish arguments. Gentlemen don't waste time in gossip, fights, or proving themselves right all the time. They know that peace is more powerful than ego. Even when they are right, they don't always feel the need to win. Why? Because they value their energy. They protect their mind from unnecessary stress. Their silence becomes their strength. Their calmness becomes their voice. 4. Always question your thoughts. This is the mark of a wise man. Not every thought you think is true. A gentleman often pauses and asks, why am I thinking this? Is this thought helping me or hurting me? Am I reacting or thinking clearly? If your mind says, I'm not good enough, challenge that. If your mind says, I'll fail, ask, is it true or is it just fear? A gentleman does not become a slave to his thoughts. He becomes the master. 5. Seek knowledge, not just information. There is a difference between knowing something and understanding it. A gentleman doesn't just scroll through social media posts. He reads books. He listens to wise people. He reflects deeply. He knows that true confidence comes from understanding life, not from showing off. He never says, "I know everything." Instead, he says, "There's always more to learn." This keeps his mind humble, curious, and open. 6. Think before you speak. Words are powerful. Once spoken, they cannot be taken back. Gentlemen do not speak just to sound smart or impress others. They speak with purpose, with kindness, with clarity. Before they speak, they ask, "Is this true? Is this helpful? Is this the right time?" Because a foolish man speaks without thinking. A wise man thinks deeply before speaking. 7. See challenges as teachers. Life is not always easy. A gentleman knows this, but he also knows something more important. Every difficulty is a lesson in disguise. When something goes wrong, he doesn't say, "Why me?" He says, "What is life trying to teach me?" This way of thinking turns every problem into a step forward. Breakup? Learn emotional strength. Failure? Learn better strategies. Rejection? Learn patience and self-worth. This mindset changes everything. He doesn't break down. He rises up. 8. Think kindly of yourself. Many people say hurtful things to themselves in their own minds. "I'm stupid. I always mess up. I'm not good enough." A gentleman speaks to himself with love. He says, "I am learning every day. I made mistakes, but I'm improving. I deserve happiness. I can change." This inner kindness gives him strength, focus, and peace. He becomes his own best friend, not his worst enemy. Final thoughts. Being a gentleman is not about being perfect. It is about growing, thinking wisely, and acting with dignity. Your mind is your most powerful tool. If you clean it, feed it with wisdom, and protect it from negativity, you will shine. Not because others notice, but because you will feel proud of the person you are becoming. Part 6. A Gentleman's Legacy. What you leave behind in the world. You've learned about how to dress, how to think, how to love yourself, how to stay disciplined, and how to train your mind. But there's still one more thing left. Something that truly defines a gentleman. It's not what people say about him today. It's what people will remember when he's gone. That's called legacy. A gentleman is not only thinking about who he is now, he's thinking about what kind of man he wants to be remembered as. Let's talk about this deeply. 1. Live with purpose, not just existence. Many people wake up, eat, go to work or school, scroll through their phones, and then sleep. They repeat this every day. But a gentleman doesn't just live life like that. He asks himself, "Why am I here? What is my role in this world?" He wants to do something meaningful, not necessarily big or famous, but something real. He wants to be useful. He wants to be remembered for his kindness, honesty, and courage. Even if he is not rich, even if he is not famous, he wants to live in such a way that someone's life became better because of him. 2. Serve, help, and give. This is where a gentleman becomes truly great. When you help others, not for attention, not for praise, but just to make someone smile, you create real beauty in the world. Maybe you help a friend study. Maybe you listen to someone who is sad. Maybe you protect someone from being bullied. Maybe you teach something to someone who needs it. Even a small act of kindness, done with love, becomes a part of your legacy. Gentlemen are givers, not takers. They don't say, "What will I get?" They ask, "What can I give?" 3. Be honest even when it's hard. The world is full of lies, shortcuts, and people trying to fake everything. But a gentleman doesn't cheat. He doesn't lie. He doesn't hide behind masks. Why? Because truth gives peace. Honesty builds respect. And people trust someone who is real. Being honest may not give you fast success, but it will give you deep success. The kind that makes you sleep peacefully at night. 4. Respect women, elders, and even strangers. This is where true class shows. A gentleman doesn't just show respect to his boss or his teacher. He shows respect to the cleaning staff, the waiter, the security guard, the old man walking slowly, the woman carrying groceries, the little kid asking silly questions. He's not proud or arrogant. He never says, "I'm too big to talk to this person," because he knows everyone deserves respect. 5. Build others, not just yourself. In life, it's easy to focus only on your own goals, your career, your dreams, your growth. But a true gentleman also wants others to succeed. He shares knowledge. He gives motivation. He says, "You can do it too." He lifts others instead of pulling them down. He celebrates someone else's success. He helps others climb while climbing himself. That's leadership. That's legacy. 6. Say sorry when you're wrong. This is one of the hardest things to do. Many people think that saying sorry makes you weak. But the truth is, it makes you strong. A gentleman is not perfect. He makes mistakes. But he's brave enough to admit it. He doesn't blame others. He doesn't run away. He says, "I was wrong. I'm sorry." This simple act builds stronger relationships and earns deep respect. 7. Never stop growing. The journey of a gentleman is never complete. Even when he is 60 years old, he is still learning, still improving, still growing. He reads, he listens, he reflects, he forgives himself, he forgives others, and he moves forward. He doesn't say, "I have arrived." He says, "I'm still on the path." That's what makes him different. 8. Leave behind love, not just things. When your life is over, people won't remember what car you drove or how many clothes you had. They'll remember how you made them feel, how you treated them, how kind you were, how real you were. So, live in such a way that when people think of you, their heart feels warm. Leave behind not just money or objects, but love, wisdom, values, and memories. Final words. Being a gentleman is not something you become overnight. It's a journey, a path, a daily choice. It's about being kind in a cruel world. It's about being patient in a fast world. It's about being real in a fake world. It's about being better than who you were yesterday. And most of all, it's about creating a life that matters. Part 7. A gentleman's inner world. Calm mind, quiet strength. Being a gentleman is not only about how you look, speak, or behave outside. It is also about what is happening inside you. Yes, inside your mind, inside your heart. Because real confidence, real power, real success, they begin within. So in this part, let's go deeper. Let's understand how a gentleman builds his inner world. Strong, calm, peaceful, and powerful. 1. A gentleman controls his emotions. We all feel emotions. Sometimes we are angry. Sometimes we are sad. Sometimes we are scared. That's normal. That's human. But a gentleman doesn't allow emotions to control him. He feels them. But he doesn't act blindly. He doesn't shout when he's angry. He doesn't cry in front of everyone when he's hurt. He doesn't panic when things go wrong. Instead, he takes a deep breath. He thinks, he waits, and then he speaks or acts. This is real strength, the strength of emotional control. 2. A gentleman talks kindly to himself. Many people are kind to others but cruel to themselves. They say things like, "I'm not good enough. I always fail. I can't do anything right." But a gentleman changes the voice inside his head. He says, "I made a mistake, but I'll learn. I'm growing every day. I believe in myself." He becomes his own best friend, not his enemy. This positive self-talk gives him power to keep going, even when life is hard. 3. A gentleman has inner silence. In today's world, everything is noisy. Social media, messages, news, opinions. Everyone is talking, few are thinking. But a gentleman makes time for silence. He sits alone. He thinks deeply. He reflects on his life. He listens to his heart. He breathes slowly. He disconnects from the noise and connects with his soul. This silence gives him wisdom. It gives him clarity. It gives him peace. 4. A gentleman doesn't chase attention. He doesn't want likes, followers, or applause to feel happy. He knows his worth is not in other people's opinions. It's in how he sees himself. He doesn't post everything. He doesn't try to impress. He doesn't beg for love or respect. Because he already knows. He is enough. This quiet confidence is stronger than any loud words. It shines without trying. It speaks without shouting. 5. A gentleman forgives and lets go. Holding anger is like carrying a heavy bag. It tires your soul. A gentleman doesn't carry hate. He doesn't plan revenge. He doesn't waste time on negativity. He forgives, not because others deserve it, but because he deserves peace. He lets go of past pain, old insults, and toxic people. He focuses on what's ahead, not what's behind. Forgiveness is not weakness, it's freedom. 6. A gentleman has daily habits that build inner strength. He knows that real strength is built slowly every day. So he creates small habits that shape his future. He wakes up early. He reads good books. He writes his thoughts. He moves his body. He eats clean. He avoids drama. He learns something new every day. These small steps, repeated daily, turn into massive inner power. 7. A gentleman accepts himself, but still aims higher. He doesn't hate himself. He doesn't try to be someone else. He says, "This is who I am, and I'm proud." But at the same time, he says, "I can be better. I can grow more." So he balances self-love and self-improvement. He celebrates who he is, but he's always working to become the best version of himself. 8. A gentleman trusts the process. He knows that success doesn't come in one day. That confidence doesn't come in one week. That greatness is not a shortcut. It's a long road. So he trusts the process. He works daily. He is patient. He keeps going even when he sees no results. He understands. Great things take time, and he's ready to give that time. 9. A gentleman lives by values, not by pressure. He doesn't follow trends blindly. He doesn't copy the crowd. He doesn't do wrong things just to fit in. He chooses his values: honesty, kindness, hard work, respect. And he sticks to them, no matter what. Even when people laugh. Even when people leave. Because he knows it's better to stand alone for what's right than to be accepted for what's wrong. 10. A gentleman creates light in dark places. Even when life is dark, even when things go wrong, even when people are cold, a gentleman becomes the light. He gives hope. He shows patience. He shares love. He brings calm. He walks into a room and people feel safe. They feel better. They feel lighter. Because a gentleman is not just a man, he is a source of light. Final message. So, if you truly want to be a gentleman, don't just change your clothes, change your heart, change your thoughts, change your attitude. Live with depth, love with grace, walk with strength, speak with kindness. And one day, without even trying, you'll become the kind of person this world needs. A man with quiet power, deep wisdom, and a heart full of light. Like, subscribe, and share if this message touched your heart. See you tomorrow with another powerful video.